Alright, what's up folks? Oh, I do not have to talk loud while riding this thing, jeez. Alright, so anyway, as you can tell, we're not on the Yamaha Bolt today for a change. We're on a Yamaha Zuma 50. And I just got this thing the other day, pretty much to just tool around on, full width a little bit, and resale. And try to make a buck or two. I'm not stopping at any stop signs unless I have to, because it takes forever to get up to speed on one of these things. Surprisingly, if you don't know much about scooters, there's a ton of nuanced differences between a lot of the 50cc competitors. And I was expecting this bike, let me just hit you with some facts real quick. We're talking about a single cylinder, obviously, 50cc, liquid cooled, single overhead cam, 3-valve, fuel injected engine. So, as far as 50cc engines are concerned, this one has the tech. You know, the Honda Ruckus, liquid cooled, however carbureted, single overhead cam, 2-valve, Vespa air cooled, fuel injected. So you would think this is the most tech engine wise. This is probably going to be the best performer, and that may be true, but at this exact moment in time, it is not true. Although I do need a GPS check this, because this thing has a harder time getting to 40 than the Zuma did getting to probably 43. I think 43 on flat road is about where it topped out at. And granted, Zuma, a totally different looking scooter, and it also had a aftermarket lowered seat, so there was not as much body up in the wind. And that's another thing, it's kind of windy today, but I mean, I'm not traveling straight into it, so I would suspect or expect that at some point, you know, like right now it's a straight crosswind, so it shouldn't really be hurting my chances any. Regardless, I was expecting slightly better. However, like I said, I haven't GPS checked this speedometer. It could be reading a little slow, although I really doubt it's reading slow. But we're screaming past it now, and there's a limiter. We did, I'm pretty sure, hit a limiter just there. It sounded like it probably won't be able to pick up on it on camera. But going down that hill, we did hit some kind of limiter. Felt like it was an RPM limiter. So let me just nonchalant pull a cell phone out here and get a speedometer app going, not Spotify. Oh, you want me to review your app? Dismiss. Okay, yeah, speedometer is definitely off, but not in a good way. Speedometer says 41, I've got 36. So, yeah, definitely, like I said, it is definitely off. And it is definitely off, not in a good way. So I am showing 41 flat out. So we're off by 4 miles an hour. So that's all she's got, 41. And I cannot say for certain whether the whether the Honda Ruckus scooter was the most recent scooter that I bought and flipped for a profit. I can't say for certain whether that scooter did 45 GPS. I don't recall ever GPS checking it, but it did 45 on its own speedometer, and it felt like it was faster than this. It definitely felt like it was quicker between like 30 and top speed than this. This one kind of seems to nose off around that. Oh yeah, we're definitely hitting a limiter. Seems to nose off around the 30 mark more so than the Ruckus did. And I don't know why. I haven't. It's meant to be a review video, so if you found this video expecting a review, that may come soon. This is not that. Just wanted to, probably should have said that kind of at the beginning. But anyway, this thing is, I haven't went through it front to back, top to bottom. The Ruckus I went through it. I had shimmed valves, new fuel pump. Yes, carbureted, but they do have a fuel pump due to the fact that the fuel tank is in the floorboard. Before someone mentions that in the comments. Anyway, I went through it front and back, top to bottom. It was in tip-top shape, even though it had 30,000 miles. And yeah, that was the end result on it was, I feel like 43 to 45 miles an hour. We'll say 43. 45 is a little generous, especially considering perhaps that I never GPS checked it, or I don't recall GPS checking it. So we'll call it 43 easily. Now, I have not been through this thing front to back, top to bottom. It only has 3,000 miles as opposed to 30,000, so I'm probably not even going to bother checking the valves. I really doubt it needs anything. However, I feel like it could use a few things. I'm pretty certain that it could use a new drive belt, and that may be why we're seeing a lack in high-end acceleration. Once we hit 30, it kind of fades off. I feel like that's what's probably causing that. If you're not familiar with a CVT, the drive belts wear from the sides and get thinner on their width, and as they get thinner and the CVT does its thing and compresses on one end and expands on the other, as the belt runs up one drive face and down the other drive face, it wears on the sides. That affects how far up one drive face and how far down the other drive face it can actually travel, which affects the gear ratio. So new belt, wider belt, because it's brand new and not worn, the end result of that will be the CVT will be working more appropriately and more efficiently, hopefully yielding in a higher top speed and a better acceleration on the top end. Alright, had to stop and fill it up for the first time, and fuel gauge works. That's great. Took $1.79, which is a whopping 0.9 gallons. That should be good for 130 miles. Close to it, we'll see if I ever even put that many miles on it before I sell it. So anyway, haven't been through it front to back, top to bottom completely yet, so I still need to do that. Like I said, I know for a fact it's going to need a air filter, because I've already checked that. So I will need to pick up an air filter, maybe robbing a little bit of that top end performance, and I need to pick up a new belt. I will service it when I'm doing all of that stuff. New oil and new engine oil and new gear case oil. And then if we cannot achieve a better acceleration with the same top speed with the new belt, we will order some tuning weights for the CVT. Again, like I said, this is something for me to sell and flip, make money, but I also really like tinkering. So why not? And just see what's the absolute most I can get out of it. So that's the plan for it so far. We will see how that plan works out. Who knows? Somebody, I could post it for sale tomorrow and somebody could come pick it up at a ridiculous price before I have time to get anything ordered and put on it. Who knows? And I would encourage you, if you ever get the chance to ride one, and when I say ride one, I just mean a scooter in general. I'm not specifically referring to a Zuma or Ruckus or anything. If you are a motorcycle enthusiast and yet you are not a scooter fan, then I have no clue what's wrong with you. I mean, yeah, I'm sure I've never been like a diehard scooter person or enthusiast. I've never had a scooter that cost me more than $1,000. The biggest and fastest scooter I've ever owned actually only cost me $50. Piaggio BV350. Anyway, I digress. Point being, if you're a motorcycle enthusiast, I ain't saying you gotta go out and buy a scooter. Man, next time you're at the beach, rent one. It makes perfect sense. Like, if I lived not in the middle of nowhere, I would definitely, I don't want to say definitely, I feel strongly that I would own a scooter. It may not be the only form of two-wheel transportation I own, but I would own one as a permanent means of travel. If I live in more of a city or urban environment and didn't have highway traffic to deal with on my way to work and stuff like that, it would definitely be something that I kept in the stable. For countless reasons. I mean, fuel efficient as can be. The ride's perfectly fine, upright, riding position, super comfortable. Scooters are super nimble because of the short wheelbase and the low center of gravity. They're just super flickable and easy to handle. I probably wouldn't have a 50cc. Maybe a Zuma 125 or something would be nice. Something a little more get up and go. Something that could actually get you a ticket. And yeah, I couldn't even get a ticket on the road I'm on now. This is 40 mile per hour county road, and we just clocked myself according to the GPS at 41. So yeah, I'm not even ticket worthy on a 50cc. Now, if you're more urban, 50cc could definitely be, no problem for you. And not only are they super reliable, super efficient, you get dry storage from the factory, and like a lot of it too, especially on something a little bigger. Yamaha S-Max, Yamaha Zuma 125, Honda PCX 150, things like that. A lot more storage under the seat because the body's a little bigger. And, so plenty of storage. Not only do you have plenty of storage, that storage is dry storage and it's lockable storage from the factory. And you can have all of that if you're buying used for, I don't know, $2,000. If you're in the 125 to 150cc market, you might be looking at $2,500 used. And even if you're buying new, that's $3,000 to $3,500. I bought a Yamaha S-Max and was out the door for like $3,400, and then it's the only thing I've ever bought new, but I'm pretty certain the Zuma 125 is like $3,200. And yes, I realize for those few of you that have stuck around for this far of the video, this is just total ramble, incoherent mumbling. But anyway, yeah, if you live more urban, I mean, if I lived more urban, this would definitely be something for me. So again, if you're just a general motorcycle enthusiast of sorts, but you've never given scooters a chance, and I ain't saying go out and buy one, but certainly don't hate on them. They've got their place, and it's a good place. You know, it's a good. America is really the biggest market that doesn't use them. I mean, Asia, that's all they use. India, all over Asia. Europe, I ain't gonna say that's all they use in Europe, but I mean it's a large percentage of what they use. Women carrying children, going to the dentist, they're on a scooter. Probably less now than 20 years ago, maybe more now, I don't know. Never lived in Europe. But like if you watch some videos of some YouTubers who do RJ Royal Jordanian, watch him. If you just search it, if you've never seen his stuff, you've probably seen his stuff in viral videos and just not maybe realize that's what or who you were watching. I mean, just scooters everywhere, and Z125s and Honda Monkeys, and just everywhere. It's a daily thing. But America, we don't touch them. We don't touch them, and about the way we don't touch motorcycles, to be honest. If you were living in America in the 30s and 40s and 50s, it started probably phasing out in the 50s, but like through the 30s and 40s and prior to that, if you were living in America and you were blue collar, there was a good chance you had a motorcycle for no other reason than honest, true transportation, not as a fun toy, because you couldn't afford more, you know. And if you could afford more, it was not a lot more. It was a Model T. You know, it wasn't a Chrysler or Dodge Brothers. It was a Model T. You know, it wasn't a Duesenberg. So the same way I feel like America used to feel about motorcycles is the same way Europe and Asia markets feel about scooters now, and we now feel about scooters even less than we feel about motorcycles. And at one point in time, like I'm saying, 30s and 40s, everyone, it seemed, I mean, I say it seems like as if I was there, but all the research I've seen, all the videos I've watched, all the documentary, motorcycle documentary type videos I own and have watched, it definitely was, motorcycles was a lot more common of a thing back in the 30s and 40s in America than it is now. Unfortunately, now I feel like everybody should be into the hobby, and I feel like it maybe shouldn't even be a hobby. You know, you should. I'd love to see people that own a motorcycle and do nothing with it but commute with it. That'd make my day. Cubby holder. So anyway, more videos on the Zuma to come while I continue to own it and tinker with it and yada 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 yada. If you don't care about Zuma videos and you're just mad I quit making KLR content, or you're newly subscribed and you're here for Bolt content, don't worry, it ain't going nowhere. It's just interrupted.